Promotional consideration is brought to you by the following. ABC6 On Your Side presents Saluting Our Veterans. Here now are Bob Kendrick and Station again.
They walk among us every day. Fathers, mothers, sisters, brothers.
They are military veterans serving our country and community, and they inspire us with their dedication. I'm Station again.
Hello, I'm Bob Kendrick. Now their stories are being told in a new way in a brand new building, the National Veterans Memorial and Museum, purpose-built to celebrate their service.
Tonight we take you inside this new added gem in downtown Columbus and feature their stories as they continue to serve all around us.
Dedication to serve can take many forms, sometimes in the same person. For instance, more than 120 members of Ohio's Air National Guard are full-time police officers, firefighters, or corrections officers. Mike McCarthy now takes us into the sky.
Not every day may be perfect, but find a passion, and those days can be weathered.
On this, we're just walking around, we're looking at the different lights.
It's why Sergeant Chris Hasty says this is a good day.
It's calming.
Even if he'd rather fly.
And we just go up here and we check the rotor blade.
Hasty joined the Ohio State Highway Patrol 18 years ago.
It's just something that you're born to do. I love flying. I've always wanted to be a pilot ever since I could remember.
As a highway patrol pilot, he helps with manhunts and more. He says it's the mission to make a difference that fuels him.
It's pure enjoyment. I love both of my jobs with all my heart.
Both jobs?
Yes. We're going to fly on the KC-135R Stratotanker today.
Sergeant Hasty is also Senior Master Sergeant Hasty with the 121st Air Refueling Wing, based at Rickenbacker with the Ohio Air National Guard.
All right.
Others do the flying. Hasty's in control in the back.
It's not for the claustrophobic, that's for sure.
He's a boom operator and runs what amounts to a big gas station in the sky.
Oh, there they are.
Refueling jets mid-air.
First page of our manual actually stipulates that the operation of two aircraft within close proximity of one another is inherently dangerous and should be avoided at all costs. So you're going to get another airplane flying at 200 miles an hour within 30 feet of you, and you're going to reach out and touch it with a probe and give it fuel.
Hasty has served more than 20 years with the Guard. This flight was training, but just this past summer he supported jets fighting the war on terror in Iraq, Syria, and Afghanistan.
Thanks for the help, guys. Appreciate it. We'll see you next time.
Public service and service to my country was always something that was just born in with a military background in my family, and having been born on the 4th of July, you just kind of just go that route.
When he's not at the base or at the State Patrol's hangar, he's serving as a dad and husband.
My wife makes fun of me quite often. The only way she knows what I'm doing from one day to the next is the color of the uniform that I put on, and I have more uniforms hanging in my closet than I actually have civilian clothes. I think I have one pair of jeans.
He wears his passion on his sleeves. And when it comes to protecting his community, state, and country, for Chris Hasty, the sky's the limit, any day.
What does a veteran look like? You might have an idea in your head, but forget the stereotypes. Veterans are all around you, even when you don't realize it, especially here in Central Ohio. It's a typical day on campus. Students making their way to class. Can you spot the veterans? When you think of a veteran, what does a veteran look like to you?
Veterans look like me, and veterans look like the person sitting next to you.
People don't often believe that I'm a veteran because I have very curly hair and I teach meditation classes and I do yoga and stuff like that.
Let your eyes focus on one spot.
Women veterans stand 67,000 strong, according to the Ohio Department of Veterans Services. They face their own challenges after serving. Many say they're forgotten because people forget.
Women serve too.
When somebody is talking to me about military service, they assume that my husband was the only one that served, although both of us served. Have you ever had ice cream from the ice cream?
Yeah.
Is it good?
Yeah.
Oh.
Hannah Rodas and Gretchen Klingler, both Air Force veterans, connected after their time in the service as they began a new phase in their lives. as students at Ohio State.
So much fun. It has definitely been one of the biggest transitions of my life, going from active duty military to being a civilian student.
And they're not alone in that transition. This school year, there are 2,280 military-connected students on campus in every major, every college, and every degree level. Here on campus, they blend in with the student population. But as veterans, they are unique.
No matter how long you're out of the military, a part of it still stays within you.
And they connect. Veterans supporting veterans on campus and finding a much larger community of support, looking beyond the stereotypes.
Having the larger community here in the Columbus, Ohio area that is interested in supporting veterans and taking care of veterans is so important.
The new National Veterans Memorial and Museum takes you into the very heart of service, what it means to put country above self, and how to honor that commitment and sacrifice. To complete that mission was a tall order, but safe to say, mission accomplished. Porcelain white, with curves and angles you can't ignore, it's a circular signature rising alongside the Scioto.
I'm told that it's been written up in Architectural Digest.
Look what they did, man. It's beautiful, man.
With a mission to honor, connect, inspire, and educate. The National Veterans Memorial and Museum isn't here to show you the artifacts or machines of war, although there are some. Rather,
it is the story of our veterans, from the beginning of our country to present day.
Amy Taylor heads the Columbus Downtown Development Corporation, which brought the late Senator John Glenn's dream for a veterans tribute to life. It seems very inclusive because you show all of the working parts of a military machine.
Absolutely. The interesting part is, I think what we need to be sure and remember is that the military provides training, skills, and trades for so many people. So we try to showcase the variety of jobs that people learn in the service.
The building itself is a marvel. From its rooftop gathering place, ringed by windows the color of service ribbons, to the nearly 2.5 million wood slats that form its oak floors, all encased in a concrete spiral that's both imaginative and symbolic.
We wanted it to be iconic on site, so when you drove up, you knew that you'd arrived somewhere special. But the other thing that we wanted to do is make sure that these three concentric arches work together. So there's 28 million pounds of concrete, there's 1,100 tons of reinforced steel, but what you won't see is one load-bearing column. That's because just like our veterans, the design of the National Veterans Memorial and Museum stands up on its own.
To immerse visitors in the veterans experience, a nationally renowned team assembled a fascinating regiment of photos, letters, personal effects, under the command of multimedia presentations, starting at, well, the start. So how is the museum arranged?
So what we're looking at here is the timeline, which is obviously chronological, beginning with the American Revolution, and it takes us through key battles. We've got artifacts that we feature when they advance a story.
Interactive exhibits also rank highly here. Legendary Ohio veteran Colonel Tom Moe shows us one that connects visitors with dozens of veterans and their stories, including his.
How's this work? So here's one. Here's Tommy right there. So you just touch it. It brings up a story, a little background and picture. Has a picture of my dear wife, 53 years now, and a picture of our homecoming in Dayton in 1973. So we can do this for all these folks. We also have artifacts, okay? These are dog tags from World War I. People are going to be able to identify with a person, with their service.
With their family?
With their families, absolutely. And this is part of the connect, honor, inspire, educate.
You won't see only general officers. You know, you won't see only presidents, but you'll see the little guy and how the little guy had an impact on big things.
Yeah. Lieutenant General Michael Farrader is the first CEO for the NVMM. He wants visitors to feel the pride on display.
It's joyful and it's solemn, but you don't have that feeling of, oh, pity me. It's more about wow. And then you go to the next thing, you see, oh, wow.
What's in a name? Well, the museum is what's inside. How about memorial?
Memorial, because that is the Memorial Grove. Out there's a 350-foot wall and a 350-foot reflecting pool, 3 waterfalls. The brick wall raises to heights of 12 feet, 9 feet, 6 feet.
The museum's location in the heartland puts it within easy reach of Americans from all corners of the country.
We hope this will be a pilgrimage for everybody to come who has served, who has had family members served, or who's just grateful for the fact that we have people who are willing to sign that blank check on their life.
Ferreter expects word of the memorial will spread quickly.
Their peer-to-peer, word-of-mouth marketing that these young men and women and old men and women have today will get the word out, and they will come to Columbus.
The National Veterans Memorial and Museum may now be the brightest jewel in Columbus's crown.
I think the architecture is amazing, and I think it's going to be that key iconic shot of our community.
While at the same time mirroring its mission, to show that service has no beginning and no end.
I think the takeaway for anyone who visits here is going to be one of inspiration to see the stories they've been so well told, but also for people, especially our young people, to think about service and to take that home with them.
Or we're going to hear them say, hey, we came through the museum a couple months ago. It really helped my brother or sister or dad out. It's moving him along his journey from past, or he finally got closure like he needed to. It changed his life. That's what I expect we're going to hear.
Whole health, from head to toe, inside and out. That's the goal for the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs, with a major focus on the mental health of our veterans. It can be a difficult transition from military life to civilian life, but the Central Ohio community is coming together to offer support. Lost in transition, it can be a difficult reality for many service members as they readjust to life outside of the military or return home from combat.
I think it is challenging as a veteran to find a new place to belong.
Post-traumatic stress, depression, isolation, alienation. Mental health is a difficult topic, many service members concerned with the stigma of reaching out for help.
It's a scary topic, but it's a topic that's absolutely necessary to have a discussion about.
Colin Winter knows firsthand. After 2 tours in Baghdad, including during the surge of 2007, he found himself battling post-traumatic stress and alcohol abuse.
You're almost displaced when you come home.
Displaced and likely viewed by the public in one of 2 ways that may or may not apply.
You either have to be a war hero or you are broken and you have PTSD and you don't know what you're doing with your life. So for the majority of veterans who get out of the service, like me, they come out of the military and they don't fit either of those molds, so you don't really have a place to belong.
Elena Camacho served in the Army and found post-military life to be complicated. After 4 years of structure as a soldier, she did not identify with civilians and her newfound freedom.
You don't have a place to belong after you leave the service.
The VA now estimates more than 6,000 veterans die by suicide each year, based on new data from 2008 to 2016. Each of these veterans touched by suicide, further complicating their transitions to civilian life. But reaching out for help became the first step to healing, followed by reaching out to help others. Elena now works in youth suicide prevention at Nationwide Children's Hospital. Colin started the nonprofit Run Down the Demons.
Run Down the Demons is a nonprofit organization that raises awareness about PTSD, suicide prevention, and other mental health concerns that veterans and families are faced with.
Offering a variety of programs to assist those who served.
Exhale, fold forward. We're going into our sun salutation.
Including yoga, specifically for women veterans, for peace and tranquility.
3, 2, 1, go have the best race ever begin!
And a 5K obstacle course race raising awareness and funds for veteran mental health. Veterans reaching veterans and the entire Central Ohio community.
The overall message to our veterans is that you're not alone in the fight against mental health.
There is hope. There's always hope.
It's really an honor and a privilege to be involved. Having a shrine here in Columbus that honors veterans is very, very important.
General manager at the Basement Doctor, and I was in the United States Navy.
I spent 6 years with the Army National Guard as an infantryman.
I was in the United States Army Reserve.
United States Navy.
Army.
The military gives you a strong set of values that you can translate into business any day.
Veterans have a sense of loyalty, dedication, and I believe they're more focused and serious about the job.
A lot of what I learned in the military, improvising and adapting and making things work, fixing things on the fly, keeping the jobs rolling.
They understand what a mission is about, and every day, I mean, certain projects we have are like missions. You know, they take a certain amount of skill.
Leadership qualities that you get from the military personnel that are, they kind of come with those personnel. Their dedication, their hard work, all of those traits are what we're looking for.
People are out there laying down their lives, literally, for this country, and anything we can do to support that is extremely important for me and the Basement Doctor team.
I believe that we have a duty to honor and support veterans, people who have dedicated their life to this country in many cases, and we want to make sure that we show them respect and that we pay tribute to that selflessness.
We certainly want to support you in any way we possibly can, and thank you on my behalf and on behalf of the Basement Doctor for everything you do for us in the country. To all our veterans, the Basement Doctor thanks you for your service.
ABC6 On Your Side presents Saluting Our Veterans.
One of the most powerful messages as you tour the memorial is the reminder that veterans continue to serve long after their time in the service. Many choose to serve their communities as volunteers. With the USO, they're able to connect with the next generation of military members and their families.
We have a lounge where people can take a rest.
Connecting service members to family, home, and country. That's the goal of the USO.
We have snacks available.
It's a goal made possible by volunteers across the world, many of them veterans, giving back to an organization they connected with during their own military service.
A fellow from Cleveland, a comedian by the name of Bob Hope, came over and gave a show on Christmas Day at Da Nang.
Da Nang is one of my favorite stops, and I mean stops.
A Vietnam veteran with 21 years in the Air Force, Terry Kobe now volunteers his time connecting with service members and families who come through the USO lounge at John Glenn International Airport.
I give a little bit here, but I get a lot back because we see all the young kids coming in through here on their way to basic training out of the Central Ohio area, and it's a real treat to get to meet them and talk with them.
Wherever they go, the USO is there to keep our service members connected to everything that gives meaning to their service.
Having veterans that have lived it is really important to the people that we serve today.
Why is it so important to have that connection?
Absolutely. They get it. They've been there. They lived it.
Well, these might look good on you.
I don't know about that.
Veteran volunteers allow the USO to reach the families of service members as well.
We'll get these organized to get down to the Chase Center.
On this day, volunteer Al Watmow helps move wedding dresses for the USO's Marry Me military event, where military brides and family members pick out their gowns absolutely free.
Wedding dresses are not cheap.
After 27 years serving in the Ohio National Guard, Al knew the USO was the right fit for him to continue to serve. When it comes to your time now, volunteering and giving back, why was that so important to you to give back to a military-based organization?
Sure. I had a lot of opportunities after I retired to look at organizations that wanted you to serve in volunteer time. First of all, it's connection. You serve in the military, and then it's always, to me, it's still continuing that service.
So whether it's moving piles of dresses, setting them up, and getting them ready for military brides, or greeting service members during their travels,
books and games,
these veterans show service is in their hearts.
Veterans serve all over the place. There's so many different callings for that, USO being one.
Whether you coach a basketball team or get involved in your community, or whether you serve at your church or in your neighborhood, find that organization and continue to serve.
ABC6 On Your Side presents Saluting Our Veterans.
All across Columbus, the city busts out history. But perhaps nowhere packs the past so tightly as the single file room filled with files of photos.
This is from 1930, the Ohio National Guard rifle teams.
And more.
I'm in the Ohio Army National Guard Historical Collections, which is inside the Major General Robert S. Beetler Armory.
Sergeant First Class Joshua Mann.
These are a little group of guys I run around with.
Serves as the historian.
I'm right here holding the flag. When I started here in 2004, it was commonly referred to the room of old stuff. Things went in there to die.
Sergeant Mann has turned some things around. This old supply room now supplies pieces of the stories.
So this is the Medal of Honor.
Honoring Ohio's citizen soldiers dating back 230 years.
I sort of have three goals: collect, preserve, exhibit. I can't exhibit if I don't preserve. I don't preserve if I don't collect.
To understand his passion.
So this right here is the oldest object we have in our collections.
Just consider his past.
I grew up in a history house. My parents were both reenactors.
That baby they took along.
Right here. I'm the baby, probably 3 or 4 months old.
The birth of the state's National Guard dates back before Ohio was ever coined.
So what a lot of people don't realize is the Ohio National Guard is older than the state of Ohio itself. Ohio was founded in 1803, admitted to the Union in 1803. And we actually go back to 1788 with the forming of the Northwest Territory.
It opened the doors to the Guard answering every call to service and supporting the U.S. in almost every war.
Yeah, so this is a uniform of an officer from the 112th Engineers, which landed on D-Day. The 112th was in the second wave.
Then there's deployments closer to home, as recently as the response to Hurricane Michael. You ever worry about running out of space?
Yes. Every day.
One day, Sergeant Mann hopes for something like a museum.
Probably one of the largest military flag collections in the country. Almost 1,000 flags.
Till then, boxes in that old supply room reach the ceiling in a place where a soldier's determination isn't so easily contained.
It's just important to remember those sacrifices. Best job in the Army.
We owe so much to the men and women who dedicate their lives to serving our country.
And we hope that tonight's stories have given you a sense of the sacrifices that our service members make to ensure our freedoms.
Thanks for joining us tonight.
Good night.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by the following: